in order to actually get good at this shit, can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
Okay. In order to actually get good at this shit, bro, you gotta sacrifice, bro. You gotta commit. Consistency, me doing the same thing every single day, regardless of the result. For me, just showing up at the same time, trading the same pairs, trading the same lots, doing the same thing every single day.
What this bot does, how would you explain it?
It goes in, takes trades, and pass your account in a matter of a few minutes. Anyone watching this, if you make money in trading, make sure you take some money out of that and you put it into some hard assets in the real world.
All right, guys, welcome back to another TFT Trader podcast. Today, we're joined by Anthony. He's one of the traders with the firm. He's made $40,000 with us. And yeah, it's good to have you here. You're coming from where, Miami?
Yeah, born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Fort Lauderdale? Yeah.
So just stay with the camera?
There's like so many cameras.
Okay, so just you and that
Just
camera.
keep it like super casual, yeah. It's so cool, though.
Yeah, it is. You should have put that right here.
We're just going to include this in the pod, honestly.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, right? Make it authentic. For real. Keep it
All right, so how long you been trading with TFT?
I'll say almost like a year or so.
Yeah?
TFT. Yeah.
So let's get into like trading, right? How did you get started with everything?
Great question. Like everyone else's, bro, IML. I mean,
Yeah?
that's how I got introduced to it. You know what I'm saying? And then seeing the gurus on Instagram. And then I was like, I don't want to do the recruiting thing. I wasn't interested in. I wanted to learn the skill. So I was like, okay, how can I learn the skill? Decided to go the route of trying to get education online, YouTube.
Did you try to do some recruiting though?
No.
No?
I didn't.
You totally dodged it.
I didn't, because I was like, hey, bro, come on, learn this skill. And I couldn't have it in me to have my friends sign up to learn something that I didn't get the results from.
Right.
It was really difficult for me to do that. So I had them. They were like coming with me to the events, but I was like, don't sign up yet. Wait, I'm not sure if this guy's teaching me knows what he's doing for real. So I was like, wait. So throughout the process, bro, throughout that journey, I was on YouTube trying to learn how to like actually trade successfully.
And when did you start? Like 2 years ago?
No, 2019. November 1st, 2019 is when I funded my first live account.
So that's like 4 years.
Yeah, like 4 years.
Yeah, almost 4 years ago now.
3
So you're
years.
24 now, so you're around 20. When you got started around that time, like what were you up to?
At that time, I was trying to figure out my purpose. And I think we forever are trying to figure that out. But I think it was more so of me just trying to find like my niche, you know, trying to find my lane, trying to find how I can give my gift to the world. You know, like,
Were you in school at this time or no?
I went to real estate school to get my real estate license because I knew that most people got wealthy through real estate or like some form of entrepreneurship endeavor or business. So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to go in debt. I didn't want to take on student loans and things like that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just save the debt, go to real estate school. It's $500 for your license and try that out. And then also what I was thinking was let me get around people that are in real estate to learn from them and rub elbows with the right people. And yeah, I mean.
I feel like it's a very Florida thing.
Yes.
Just get into real estate.
Yeah, everyone has their license here.
You know, get your real estate license and all that.
Yeah.
Definitely very ambitious of you to like not go to school.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm sure there's probably pressure to go to university. Or was there at all?
For me, no, not so much. Because I remember when I turned like 18 years old, bro, like, I'm like, damn, I'm 18 now. Like most kids my age are going to college or like doing things like that. And for me, it was like, I remember like asking my mom, my dad, I was like, hey, are you guys going to pay for college for me? Or like I'll probably be an engineer because I like science and shit like that. And they were like I'm crazy. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's not an option. So I was like, all right, like cool. Like I'm just gonna do like first. It wasn't about like what I wanted to do. It was more so about the lifestyle I wanted to live. I had a vision. Like I knew I like cars. I knew I like nice things. I knew I like luxury. So for me, it was like, all right, like what are the people that have those things? What are they doing? And like, how can I morally and ethically go about getting those things?
It's a good way to think about it.
That's how I looked at it. And I was like, okay, real estate is one of the vehicles. And then trading came about.
I think that's the hardest thing when, because, you know, I don't really come from money either. So that's the hardest thing is opening the mind up to think about, all right, how am I going to actually make a lot of money? Because the only path that I had been given was go to university, get a job, right? And not really start your own business. That was very foreign to the thinking, at least in my household. So the hardest part, I think, when you're in that position is like you're doing, trying to realize how do you make a lot of money? Who makes a lot of money? What do these people do? Right? How do you find your niche? So talking about you finding your niche, did you start something before trading? Was trading like the first thing you found, right? What else did you try out?
Great question. I've always been an entrepreneur, bro, since like high school, middle school, selling candies, things like that. So always like, I was painting sneakers in high school, just cause like I was good at it. And I was like, you know what, let me just do this. I don't want to work a job. So I was painting sneakers for a few years, making money painting sneakers. So I'm very artsy. I love art, bro. I love art. And I love being free and having my time freedom. So sneakers, things like that. And then like just to pay my bills, like life kind of like, as I started to get older, I got my own place and I had to pay my bills, and I hated like it's very cliche, but I hate working for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like my time freedom. So I was doing Uber for a few years, bro. And the Uber, because like I had to commit myself to trading, bro. Like in order to actually get good at this shit. Can I cuss on this?
Yeah.
Okay. In order to actually get good at this shit, bro, you gotta sacrifice, bro. You gotta commit like your life to this. Cause like I would do Uber during the day and I'll get up and I would like go home and just trade London. Right. Come home like 2:30 a.m. after like doing trips, airports, people pick up from bars, whatever.
So a question, when you were doing Uber, were you telling people at all like what you were doing?
Yeah. Bro. And people were like, they're laughing at me, bro. They're like, this dude, like, you're gonna make 15,000 or what? Bro, hey, take my number and pick me up later.
They're like, shut the hell up.
I remember one time I found like pocket options or some shit like that, and I'm trading. It's like over the weekend, and I was like, yo, I just made like $1,000 demo trading. He's like, but it's Saturday, it's not real. I was like, yeah, but still though, look, the potential of it, like, you know what I'm saying? And I remember
they're just looking at you like you're crazy.
They're looking like I'm crazy. Like, and I think for a man, like a man has to go through that process in his journey where he feels like, fuck, like you're alone, bro. Like you're by yourself, and like people are gonna like laugh at you. You have to get laughed at, because I think that does something different to you. It wakes up that beast inside of you,
right,
bro. And like,
well, you need to have courage, right?
You gotta have courage.
You have to have courage. So I actually Ubered too, once upon a time, like 8 years ago. Wow. Yeah, when I was like 21. I graduated college, and then I went through this whole phase where I didn't want to work for anybody, right? So I started Ubering. So I was like, all right, I'm going to learn to trade. I was literally doing what you were doing. I was Ubering and I was trading, right? Wow. I was trying to learn how to trade. And then something, this is actually funny. So something happened where I was at the gym and I was really into working out. And then I was thinking of other ways I could make money. And then I went to this trainer and I was telling him like, hey, should I become a trainer here, right?
I'm going, and I had to cut you off. I was going to say the same thing about the gym. The gym is what keeps my mind sane being a trader. Yeah. And like, I was thinking even up to like last week, like, yo, like I have all this free time. Like I like working out. Should I become like an online personal trainer or some shit like to make extra income? But yeah, continue. That's crazy.
So I'll tell you my story so you're going to think it's funny. So basically I was going to become a trainer, which I ended up actually doing, but just did it for like a side thing for fun, actually. I ended up doing like group fitness. But I told him this trainer, I was like, hey, you know, what is involved with getting into this? Like it was at Lifetime Gyms. I was like, how do I get a job at Lifetime Gym, right, as a trainer? Yeah. And he's like, listen, bro, like you have a degree. He's like, just go get a job. Like don't become a trainer. He's like, you have a great degree from a great school, like get a real job. And I was like, he's kind of right. So I used my degree and ended up getting a job instead. Yeah. And then later on, you know, I quit my job, whatever. But yeah, so I was Ubering, you know, learning how to trade. And so I know very, very intimately kind of what you're going through in that, because I'm in the car and this dude's like, oh, what are you doing with your life and stuff? Like we're having a conversation. He's starting to get into it. And I'm telling him about my ambitions, my vision, right? And people are laughing at you or like getting into arguments with you, right? I remember there was one time where I told the dude I was trading forex and he literally was just like, good luck. And then, you know, we got like an argument and I'm like, I'll fucking prove you wrong. Yeah. Crazy shit like that, you know? Yeah.
It'll set a fire under you, bro.
Yeah, it does. For sure. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you were Ubering a little bit. Are you still Ubering now?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't fucking Ubered in like a year and a half, bro. Like,
thank God.
Like I've been.
Thank the heavens.
Yeah, bro. It's a blessing, bro. It's crazy. I get into that story how I got a job at the last second and I got fired from my job and like trading took off for me. That's crazy. I talk about that, but bro. Like I've been profitable. Like I've been trading for like 4 years and I've been profitable for about the last year and a half. Like it's like the first year was just live accounts and trying to flip them because firms were not really around like that. Then the second year was more so me like finding out about firms and learning how to pass them. The third year was me like, okay, first half of the year was like getting the grips of it. other half was passing them. And then the other quarter which was like a year and a half ago or about a year ago, was me like passing challenges. Like I really got good at passing challenges.
When you first found out about a prop firm or evaluation firm, whatever you want to call it, what was your thoughts on what it was?
I was like, this is crazy. I was like, you mean to tell me $500 can turn into whatever I make it based on my skill? Like for me, it was a no-brainer. And I'll tell certain people about it, and they're like, that sounds like too good to be true. You know, but for me, like I understood the ins and outs of it. I understood that, like, you know, you go, you make your money. You don't obviously try to break the bank. You know, you just, you know, get your money back. Get your money back and be conservative. And then eventually you scale up once it's risk-free. You go ahead and put the pedal to the metal. And it's about also who you know as well. You know, if you know the right people and you're good with the people, then, you know, you can build a relationship, and, you know, ultimately that can lead to greatness as well. So
when I first found out about like this whole industry, right, with FTMO and all that, it really blew my mind, right? Like because when you don't have the access to trading one of the challenges, you're trying to flip like $100 or $1,000 or $5,000, right? Yeah. And it's extremely difficult to make any money with doing that, right? So obviously, finding out that you can pay, you know, this amount of money for this type of opportunity is really, in a way, it's almost unbelievable, which it can be to most people, right? Yeah. So getting into the point, like you started trading on prop firms, what was the first one that you started going with?
Great question. FTMO.
Yeah,
FTMO, because they were like, I don't know, there's something about their marketing, or they just look like the most professional, you know, so the funded trade is also
super serious.
Well. Yeah, they're super serious. They're like, we got like, what they have, I remember I got funded with them, and they gave me like a coach, just a psychology coach.
Yeah. Did you use it?
Yeah, I tried it.
Yeah.
It kind of pissed me off though, because like, it was like he's asking me questions. I'm like, bro, like, this didn't do shit. Like, but anyhow, I mean, I get it. But like, for me, it was better just me writing down my thoughts and journaling. You know, trading is one of those things where it's like, no one can save you but you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, sometimes like, people want to paint the illusion that, oh, someone's going to save you. This book is going to save you. This is going to save you, bro. It's just you versus you, bro. Get to know yourself better, understand who you are, and then like just be disciplined.
It's a very humbling experience.
Yes, bro.
To be trading and to like just be trying to pass one of these challenges and everything. It's a direct reflection of what you think about yourself, what you think about the world, right? Really, how you go about your day to day, your routine, like everything affects your mentality when it comes to trading, right? So for you, you said you became profitable like a year and a half ago. How did you become profitable, right? Like what happened to make that actually a thing?
Consistency of me doing the same thing every single day, regardless of the result. Like for me, just showing up at the same time, trading the same pairs, trading the same lots, doing the same thing every single day. And I started to analyze and understand myself, see how I would react when I lose, see how I would react when I win. And then like writing rules down and sticking to those rules until they're ingrained into your subconscious mind. Once you ingrain them into your mind, like, you know what, even if we make $1,000 today, we're going to close the computer. Even if we lose $1,000, we're going to close the computer. Like one trade, done for the day.
That's not easy.
It's not.
To be doing
and
this.
I had to go to the gym like 2 times a day just to like keep me busy. Like just to like, say, yo, this weight's heavy, but we have to lift it because we're going to build the muscle of discipline. Like we had to build this. I had to change who I was, bro. And like, I sacrificed so much to be where I am right now. And I'm still struggling, like, not as much financially, but more so like mentally, because it's hard to maintain this. Like, especially when you're in it by yourself, it's very difficult. It gets very lonely. It's tough, bro. But at the end of the day, it's like, just like early in the journey, it was tough to get here, just like it's going to be tough to get to where I'm trying to go. So it's just building my endurance.
I think it's definitely the endurance thing, building the skill. It is kind of similar to the gym in the sense that if you go on a workout routine, right, you build yourself up over a long period of time, and then say that you all of a sudden get a little lazy, or you stop going to the gym for a little while, you start to slack off, because you've already built up those routines, those skills, those ideas of how to build up your physique. If we're talking about the gym, you can kind of get back into it and get yourself back to a good state like pretty quickly, right? Because you've already done it before. So I think with trading, it's like it can be very similar or with anything really. I mean, if you do what you did, you went to dark mode, right? And you really learned about what it took to get you into that state of mind to be successful, right? And to be decisive and to have a ton of courage. Like you figured out that state of mind where you're in flow, right? Now when you kind of break out of it, you can do you have the tools to get back into it. But it's still, like you said, it's a constant struggle to get into that mentality, to get into that mind state.
People think, oh my God, I'm profitable now. Life's easy. Like, oh, I got it all figured out. But you still got to get up every day and still got to trade. You still got to get up and still manage your emotions. You still got to get up. And
it also depends like how big you want to set your goals after you achieve. Like you could be pretty conservative and you could say, oh, I'm going to shoot for this. But if you want to like keep pushing, then things get interesting.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
The challenges get bigger. The mistakes become
Stakes are higher.
Stakes are way higher, right?
Yeah.
Would you describe yourself as someone who's like a risk taker or no?
All the time.
Yeah,
heavy.
Pretty ambitious. Yeah,
bro. I had to change my name. It used to be FX Ambition. I had to change it.
FX Ambition.
Yeah, I had to change it to Anthony Hilfiger. I'm like, I got to brand me. like I got to change that.
So are you building like a personal brand?
Yeah, I am. Anthony Hilfiger is like, I just want to be an entrepreneur. Me. I don't want to just be labeled as a trader, bro. I want to be a human being, like a person. Like FX Ambition could be a brand like that educates forex or whatever.
Right.
Who it could be anything I want it to be, but I want to be me. You know, I don't want to just be like, you know, you're not TFT, you're Angelo. Which,
right.
You know, you own
that's
the
right.
TFT. You know, exactly. Angelo could be anything, but TFT is only a firm.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's one thing with kind of the industry right now is there's a lot of firms that are getting started, and I think a lot of the people that start them are identifying themselves kind of with as if that's them or something, right? I think it's very important that, especially as a business owner, to try to kind of segregate the way that you are connected to your business because businesses don't last forever. Some of them, they might, some of them do, but inevitably things will be successful, things will fail, right? And I think for you to stay on the path of entrepreneurship and to keep going, it's important to have a separation from the brand that you're building, right? I want to build many brands. I want to build many companies, not just TFT. TFT is something I'm certainly passionate about, but like the vision for my life is not TFT, right? The vision for my life is much bigger than TFT, right?
Like, don't just attach your identity to one thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you put yourself in a box. You can be so much more. Like, this is the version of you that got you here now, but in maybe 10 years, you could be a billionaire, you know, if that's what you aspire to be. Yeah. You know, but don't put the lid on your own self, you know?
The mind is a very powerful thing. What I've realized is we could achieve really whatever we want to achieve, right? But it does come down to what we're willing to give up. So what we want to get is going to require this deposit of what we're willing to give up. And sometimes what we want to get is so big that we have to give up a lot. And that could be people in our lives. That could be things that we like to do, right? That could be a lot of different things. And I think that's the ultimate realization that a lot of people have to make is that if you want to get to 100,000 in payouts, maybe with the funded trader with another firm, you got to give up
so much. You got to sacrifice.
You got to sacrifice a
Wes
lot.
Watson talks about that. You know Wes?
Who?
Wes Watson.
No.
He discussed like, it's about what you don't do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are like eating the snacks and doing these things. It's like, okay, you're not trading discipline. It's about what you don't do. You know, the things that, you got to sacrifice all the BS that you're not supposed to do to ultimately get what you want.
Yep.
Yeah. But back to your trading thing. I wanted to know, do you trade at all still nowadays, the position that you're in?
No.
No?
No.
Life's good, huh? Life's good.
No. Well, I'm actually still curious and I still would be interested to do it. I still love it. Like I'm passionate about it and I've thought about it. Oh, let me buy a challenge. Let me try to do this, or let me just trade my own money. But it's just, in order to be successful at it, you really have to be so locked in, right? You can't, in my opinion, you can't really just like do it on the side type thing. No. Like you have to dedicate, like you're saying, it's got to be a serious priority in your life. You have to show up every single day at a certain time to really do it. And yeah, if you want to be successful, like that's how you got to go about it. It's be very systematic, right? So in my current framework, there's no room for that.
Were you ever profitable at one point, or are you just?
I was like a break-even trader, to be honest.
How did you even start? How did you and the funded trader come about? You partnered up. Like, how did this come about?
So, one, for those listening that are like, oh, he's a break-even trader. I probably made more money just buying like stocks than actually like with challenges. Like when I trade with FTMO, I made more money just investing in stocks than with that. But how did all this come about? I mean, it's definitely a very expansive story. I'll try to like just simplify it as much as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So very similar to yourself, I didn't want to work a job. I didn't want to work for anybody else. I did go to university, so I did that whole bit. But once I started working a job, I realized like, wow, this is going to be a very, very negative life if I work here forever, right? And I was working at a pharmaceutical company, so it was like in a cubicle, like all this, and I was like, this is not where I want to be. Like I knew I could be more. I knew that I was capable of more, right? I was going to, at the time, my manager, and I had ideas, but it wasn't something that was being heard, right? So for me, it was, how can I get out of this situation where my impact is limited to these people that are allowing me to grow, right? They were limiting my growth, I felt like. So yeah, like you, I went online and I'm just like, how the fuck do these people do it? How do they make money online? Yeah. And I started stumbling across, at the time, like dropshipping was really big, or I started stumbling across a lot of stuff online with all these people that were selling courses, trading, right? Like all the ringer of digital marketing type things that you could be doing. And I had always been passionate about finance. I'd always been passionate about just in general, like stocks. So when I saw the whole FX trading thing, and funny enough, like Q Banks, obviously, I stumbled across his page, and I liked his mentality, right? His mentality was kind of this like go fuck yourself type mentality where, have a lot of confidence and believe in what you're doing and like prepare and all this stuff. So I'm like, who is this guy? Like this looks pretty cool, right? Yeah. So I started looking into it, I bought his course. Then that's how I got into the whole niche, right? Through Q. And then from there, I kept learning how to trade. And, I kept realizing how hard it was. Like it was so difficult. And that could be for several different reasons. Maybe I didn't have the right materials, right? Or whatever. Maybe personally I had things going on that I need to figure out. So I just kept trying to learn, right? I was still working my job. And then at the same time, I was like, all right, if I'm not making that much money trading and this stuff is very difficult, but I'm very disciplined, like I'm pretty intellectual, right? Like I should be able to get this. I was starting to think, I'm like, how are these dudes making so much money, right? And then that's when I started realizing like, oh, they own a broker. Oh, they own, they sell the courses, right? Like all these alternative sources of income that they were doing. And what was the one source of it all was, they had a community, right? So they built this community online who they were giving like free stuff to, and then they were like selling stuff to them. So that's when I was like, I need to start building a community, right? So I partnered with this trader who actually had more success than I did. And we started building Forex League, which was our trading community. And it started becoming, over time, over like 2 years, became pretty large. We had like over 200,000 followers on Instagram, on YouTube. We had like 10K subs, which like isn't that much, but we started building everything, right? Our Telegram, our Discord, our email list. And then we started getting into some affiliate marketing. And I kept thinking, I'm like, trading is so difficult. Like, where can I find my edge in trading, right? And I kept thinking about that. Like, how can I find my edge? And then we basically got shown this opportunity to do this affiliate marketing with like a very early stage evaluation company. And that's when I started to see the numbers. It was called FX Seed at the time.
That's a prop firm though?
It was quote unquote a prop firm. It wasn't really a prop firm. We basically got scammed, like the whole thing. We were like white labeling from this other company. And then when all of our traders passed, they basically emailed us and were like, no, like they can't get accounts. And then they just stole all our money. So we basically got like scammed from this, which is an important lesson actually, because that was one of the lowest points of my whole entire life, to be honest, in business, because I had raised a lot of awareness and I'd raised a lot of clients to come to this platform. And inevitably it didn't work out, right? We got fucked over by this company, but everyone thought that it was me, right? Because it was my face on it. Exactly. So they thought I was the one behind it. So I got scammed, right? And inevitably everyone else got fucked over as well. And there was like nothing I could do about it, right? And that was a very low point because I'm like, damn, like this not only damaged my reputation, we were expecting a lot of money from this too, right? There was a lot of money that was going to come from this. I had recruited some people too, like some trader guys that were involved in it. So it was just like this whole thing that just inevitably failed. So that was a really low point, but it's an important lesson because I could have like, after that been like, oh shit, I can't, I'm done or whatever. But that's when I was really like, all right, although we failed, I learned this from this situation. And then I took that and I took all like the data and I took kind of what I have a background in IT. So I was figuring out how to automate a lot of things to like make the business run better. And that's when I was like, all right, like fuck doing this with this other company. Like, let's build everything on our own and let's just do it. Like, let's just jump into it and let's just figure it out as we're going. And let's like raise a little money and let's just make it happen. Right. And then I was like, there's no way we're going to fail. Like, we're just going to go for it. And I was a little naive. Right. And that's how kind of we started the Funded Trader. Right? I learned the background information on how this kind of company would run, kind of like the pass rates, the fail rates, like the capitalization requirements. And then I took that information and was like, all right, let's do this on our own. And then we were so early with the Funded Trader. We were like the third company that was doing it, the first one in the US. So because of the fact that we were so early, that helped to contribute towards like all this success, right?
Is it true that 90% of traders that actually buy a funded account fail? Like 90, 95?
So if you want to get into like the true statistics, and we've posted these like before, it's basically out of the challenge accounts, right? You could say anywhere from 20% to 25% might pass phase one, right? And then you could say anywhere from like 30% to 40% might pass phase two. So, if you aggregate those numbers together, then you're basically saying, all right, like anywhere from 8% to 13 or 15% are getting funded. And then the amount of people that get funded that actually make it to a payout is really low. It's probably like 20%. So the amount of people that actually get a funded account and then actually get paid is like probably 20 to 30%.
Wow.
Right. And then you're talking about the people that keep the accounts, right? What's the percentage of those? That's obviously even lower as well. And then I was looking at another stat today actually that we posted, and it was out of everyone that's gotten paid, right, in the history of the firm, how many people are positive versus negative, meaning they've made more than they've spent on challenges. What's your guess?
Percentage wise?
Yeah, it might surprise you.
Well, I would say probably 50% because
50%.
I would say 50 because if they've done it once, they probably could do it again.
So it was 80% of people have made more than they've spent. So they've profited more than they've spent on challenges. It was pretty good. Yeah, that's actually pretty positive.
Yeah, once you make it over the fence, you could kind of you did the hard part.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. I mean, so getting into it, right? Why did I start the firm, right? It was, all right, I'm not that great of a trader, but how can I have an edge in the market? So one, I was like, all right, what's one thing that I know will always be difficult? The market is always going to continue to be difficult. The odds are always going to be, and everyone talks about this, like they're almost against the traders, right? The market's almost against us in a way. So I was like, the market's always going to be hard, right? That's one thing. And then if my thought was like, all right, if we know that 90% of people are going to fail the challenge, obviously then there's this amount of revenue coming in from the challenges and that's going to be earned as income because 90% of people are failing. And then we're going to have this group that passes that's supposed to be the good group, right? They're the good group of traders. And what we'll do, right, is we'll take, our capital, we'll take capital we raise, we'll take capital from the challenges, and we'll just move that capital to be for the profitable traders. And we'll put this behind the profitable traders and be able to capitalize them. But we quickly learned that even the 10% of people, they fail, right? Even the 10% of people that pass the challenge, that get a funded account, even that's extremely unpredictable, right? So then that left us in a very interesting position where it was like, all right, what do we do, right? Do we back the people? Do we copy these trades? Do we not copy these trades, right? Like, do we just pay them out of our pocket, right? Like, what do we do in this situation? So
that's business 101, bro.
Yeah. So the business model has changed like multiple times throughout doing it. In the beginning, it was like, all right, we are just going to be able to capitalize all these traders, and we're going to sell these challenges and X amount of people are going to fail and we're going to have all this money, right? And then it was like, all right, we're starting to realize that we're losing more money by putting the money behind the traders that are funded. So we have to find a group of them that are profitable that we put our money behind, and the rest we essentially, pay out of pocket.
Like How do you go about determining, okay, so a lot of people say, oh, these company A books and B books mean da, da, da. I mean, I don't really care. I think as long as the company's paying, that's all that really matters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like A book, B book is up to you, like what you're discussing, if you want to make money off the trade or not. How do you determine whether or not you want to A book or B book a trader? Because some companies like, oh, after 3 months, we're going to put you on a VIP server and we're going to, you know.
So I think, man, this is such an interesting kind of industry, right? Because the whole MFF thing happened, right? Yeah. So I think what is starting to become more clear and apparent is that our company is not a broker, right? So even saying that we're A and B booking is actually like illegal, realistically, because we're not a broker. We don't have a brokerage license. So we can't be A and B booking anybody, realistically. So the vibe or the actual situation is TFT is an evaluation entity. You're taking challenges. We're aggregating all of your data. We're aggregating all of your data, right? You're in your contract. There's a remuneration that's being paid for the data that we're collecting from you. Now, what we do with that data has to be executed in a separate entity. And the entity that we're using to execute the trades is in the Cayman Islands. So there's around, like, in the Cayman Islands, we are on paper able to trade as a prop firm, like, regulations wise, like, we're good, right? It's nothing illegal about that. So we're allowed to conduct our trading operations there. We're allowed to, whether we're using ACAP or Think Markets, right? We're allowed to trade with those brokers in that company in the Cayman Islands. There is some nuances in terms of the legal structure to go about it, but to answer your question, like, no one is being A or B booked, right? It's just not the model. It's not actually what needs to happen. Now, if, say we left the US, right? And we were fully in the Cayman Islands, or maybe we moved to somewhere else, right? And we got a brokerage license, and then we were an actual brokerage. Then it would be maybe a little bit different. We wouldn't be able to accept U.S. customers for sure if we had an offshore license, because the U.S. has like much different rules and regulations around trading CFDs. But then we would be able to maybe do the whole A and B booking thing, right? The way we're trying to handle this problem or this situation is, it's not A and B booking per se. It's we have the data. We're then putting that data into like, we're running like probability models, statistical based models, and we're creating sort of like an engine where it's helping us make decisions, like signals in a way. And then those signals are triggering us to actually either put our money on or off.
Good.
So it's like two kind of separate things. And it's like important that this is talked about, and it's important that any firm that doesn't have a brokerage license should be going in this direction. If they're saying, oh, we A and B book, it's really illegal.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could get fined or they can get shut down or whatever.
So it's another big thing about like, oh, this brokerage regulated versus unregulated. And before we even get to that, the A book and B book thing, like, I get it. But more so, like, people like even say that, you know, sell the data. You guys sell the data of the traders to who though? Like, to like Wall Street, and they capitalize against us? Like, how does that work? Like, what like?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to go about selling the data. There are companies that will want to buy data for certain instruments. For example, they're interested in NASDAQ, right? Yeah. So they'll want data. They'll want trading data or traders data around just trading NASDAQ. And then you'll have to have a certain amount of volume where they say, oh, it's 100, you have 100 million in volume being traded. Interesting. Like, we'll pay you X for this amount of volume, right? And then before they even purchase it, they'll ask you if they can have a sample of it, and they'll do analysis on it and see, can we find any like insights, information, alpha, and that we can make decisions on. And if they can, they will purchase from you. If they can't, they will say, no, we don't give a fuck about the data. So there's that route of going about it, where you can sell to, again, there's companies that are kind of like brokers for data for hedge funds. So the hedge funds go to them and they say, hey, we want data on X, gold, NASDAQ, whatever. And then the brokers will say, okay, we're going to go source that data. And then they'll go to kind of like prop trading houses, brokerage houses, and they'll say, hey, like, do you have data? Like, how much volume do you have on this? Like I just said. So there's that route. And then the other route is kind of like the approach that we're taking, where and this is way riskier, to be honest, because we enjoy taking risks, is you can try to figure out a way to use the data yourselves. So you can build your own modules, your own data modules. You can build your own systems, and you can try to find different strategies, and they could be for very unique cases. And then you can go ahead and leverage that on your own capital as well. So we're not like selling our data to anyone right now, at least the funded trader. We're just sharing it with our prop trading firm that's located in the Cayman Islands. And then we're executing decisions based on the analysis that we're doing with the data. So yeah, we're not selling any.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you guys building like EAs to like capitalize on like the data that you guys are collecting, or do you even work with EAs, or do you even touch that at all? Or?
It's interesting. So you could, I guess you could code an EA, right, to execute on, different ideas, or you could find a quantitative edge and then program the EA to programmatically find those use cases like as they occur. We're not currently doing that though. We're leaning more towards basically creating a data pipeline or having data pipeline and then drawing inferences from that data pipeline in terms of like, what are all these like features, and by feature, I mean, is it is there a certain amount of volume that's traded at a certain time of day? Is it a certain pair? So on and so on. But it's like taking all these features from the data set and then saying, all right, when this happens, when this happens, when this happens, when this happens, that's a flag for green that we should do X. So it's like these if-then statements based on these features that we're aggregating out of the data set. So that's what we're mainly focused on doing. We're not building EAs like right now. We haven't gone that route of like trying to build an EA around the data set. Maybe eventually that'd be something interesting, but we're more leaning towards using machine learning with all the data that we have.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And two things. So what do you see for TFT in the next, 5 years? And how long do you see this company being around? Like, do you know?
So for me, like the goal with TFT at least, because TFT is grown to a pretty large size, right? It's pretty substantial now. So if I'm just speaking freely about a goal that's like a very ambitious goal, but one of ours, it would be I like to compare us to like sports teams, right? I'm sorry. There's the sports teams, right? So when you look at like payrolls for like MLB or for NFL, right? They're in the hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Or like you look at the salary cap, it's like $250 million or something. So it's like when you talk about the amount that we've paid out to traders, it's like 110 million. So if next year, right, we end up paying out 110 million or 150 million in 1 year, our payroll will be larger than like one of these sports franchises. So my goal is to just be like, this is a very silly goal, is to just become larger than one of these sports franchises. That's funny.
I got you. I can see that happening. Like, what do you have to say about people that say, "Oh my God, I got like made profit on TFT and they didn't pay me"? Like, what do you feel about that? Like, I'm pretty sure you guys get that.
So I think that it's a very hard situation to judge because inevitably there's a team internally that's doing investigations on every payout, right? There's a risk team and they're trying to assess, is this person breaking any of the rules? Is this person committing anything nefarious? Is this person potentially doing some type of arbitrage, like stuff like that, right? Are they doing anything that could take advantage of the pricing feed? And I think that there's a margin of error that could be there. So there's definitely a lot of cases that get picked up that are very valid, and that for good reason we ban the payouts. But I think there are other cases where potentially someone might get flagged. Maybe they're coming up as having the same device ID as somebody else, right? And like similar IP addresses or something. And then we're banning them because we're saying, oh, you're trading on too many accounts or all this stuff. And then maybe they have a valid reason as to why that was happening, right? Or it's whatever. So I think it's a very tough situation right now. I think the margin of error is a bit wider than it needs to be in terms of what we're investigating and what we're trying to police versus what potentially could be happening that's outside of what we can control. So I think there are some people right now that could be getting banned that could potentially shouldn't be, but there definitely is people that are getting banned that shouldn't be getting the payouts, right? So it's a really tough situation. Like for us, the way to resolve this is to move towards more automated processes when it comes to the risk stuff. So every single risk check that we do that's trying to search for a certain kind of trading strategy or whatever, and that's saying that this is taking advantage of the feed, like instead of it being done more manually, it has to be done entirely automatically or algorithmically to really reduce the margin of error that's occurring there. So yeah, like to answer your question, I do think that it's like a problem, right? So people are getting banned and they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
And like, what do I think about it? I just think it's tough. Like, I just think we have to continue to learn and continue to improve our processes, and like, we're going to make mistakes, and it just is what it is.
Sheesh, it's an expensive mistake for some people, bro.
Yeah, it is.
What do you feel like would be like, so you want to go to solution to that would be more so right now you're having people manually look over the trading accounts and make that automated?
It's not so much that they're manually doing it. It's we have sort of formulas that they're going through or whatever, right? But to initiate the check is manual. So a person has to, like, a payout gets submitted, right? And then part of the process is, all right, let's check for X, 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 and X, right? So they're manually then initiating a process of, all right, let's check for this. And then they add all their trading data into this database, and then they're running the script. And then it's saying, we're seeing this, 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 and this. So it's just got to get to the point where as soon as the request is made, all these checks just happen automatically. And there's no manual intervention. And then there's an output that says, we detected this, 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 and this. And then at the end of it, maybe there can be some type of manual discretion, like, all right, this seems like a legitimate case, or this doesn't, right? Or maybe if the trader comes back and says, hey, I have reason to believe that you banned this incorrectly, then it should get raised and then it should manually be reviewed, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, anything done algorithmically will just have a lower margin of error at the end of the day. So yeah, we definitely have a lot to learn in the risk department. And what's so interesting is that since this is such a new industry, there's not like companies we can contract with to do these types of things, right? It's very much everyone's learning. Everyone's trying to figure it out. There's companies that are trying to like get started that offer like risk services that are investigating accounts, whatever, but it's all just new. It's like the wild. It's like the Wild West. You gotta code
it yourself or something, or get coders to make that software.
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go build it from scratch. What about how do you feel about HFT bots? Or do you guys allow EAs on the funded phase? Or
we allow the EAs. We don't allow the HFT bots, though. No.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
So I think part of the reason that they're a problem is the like server, right? MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5, especially MetaTrader 4. The HFT bots are, they're in and out. They're pinging the server every millisecond. They're causing a lot of use of the server. And inevitably, when you allow the HFT bots, it's only a computer, right? You try to run a really high performance video game and your computer doesn't have enough RAM or enough memory, whatever, like the processing speed, like doesn't have the best graphic design card. Your computer's just going to fail, right? It's just going to flub out. So I think with these MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 servers, they're not built to handle this type of like constant ping, this type of performance that's required for some of these HFTs. And that's why once upon a time with 8cap, you actually saw a lot of issues where clients were trying to like get into trades or log into their accounts, and then they were getting errors and not being able to log in. And that's because the server was like burning out. So it was like maxing out. And that was from realistically the HFT bots or the EAs that are raising thousands of orders continuously. So MetaTrader 4 and 5 just like isn't really built for that type of stuff. Doesn't have the infrastructure to support it anyway.
Okay. But you guys are allowed regular EAs on the live account.
We allow regular EAs.
Like martingale.
Yeah, like we don't as of now allow martingale EAs. But we allow generally EAs. I think specifically martingale we don't allow though. Okay. Yeah. Do you use martingale?
No, I don't have mine. I do use HFT bot though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know you guys.
Tell us a little bit about that. So what's the latest with that? Yeah, the HFT bots.
It doesn't lose.
It doesn't lose.
Nah, if you put it on the wrong broker, I mean, it won't work. It has to be on like the right broker. So
right,
it'll work. Yeah. So, but I go with the other firms that allow it. Then I do that side of business, and with manual, I use like TFT and things.
Yeah, that stuff's so popular right now.
Yeah, it's popping up.
Selling the HFT bots, the passing services.
Yeah, I do the passing services. I don't own the bot because it's licensed. Because there's a lot of fake fugazi bots out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does it do? Like, if you were to explain what this bot does, how would you explain it?
It goes in, takes trades, and pass your account in a matter of a few minutes. Like you make 20,000 like 5 minutes.
When you're looking at the chart, like what does the trade? What does it do? Like trading wise?
Honestly, I'm sleeping when it does it. My partner has it on, but it just like, I don't know. I think it's like in and out really quick. I don't really pay attention, but I think I've seen it one time. It's like in and out.
What does it trade? Gold?
Different stuff, indices. Like what I've seen is indices, but I believe you can trade pretty much anything.
Interesting.
Based on my knowledge.
Yeah, they're definitely, it's tough. I mean, it's definitely, it's kind of like the thing about the bots is, have you ever tried to use the bot on a live account, like on a broker?
No, because most brokers don't allow it.
And they don't allow it because you can't actually make any money with it on like a live server.
See, my thing is this, I was like, damn, it makes money passing the challenge. It's like, why don't they just allow us to connect it to a live account and just...
Because it won't make money.
Because the services aren't lagging
like
or something?
Because the way that it's executing the trades, unless like it's a swing trading, that's not an HFT bot. HFT is like in and out. It's just dumbing it down to, on the other side of every trade, there's somebody else, right? So if you buy, someone's selling. If you sell, someone buys. Like dumbing it down to that, right? Yeah. So if you're trying to HFT and you don't have direct connection to a liquidity provider that knows what you're trying to do, there's not going to be people on the other side of these orders. Like they're like ghost orders, right? You're going too fast. You're raising too much liquidity like at one time, right? And there's no one on the other side of this. So I think with all these MT4, MT5 brokers, the HFT bots simply can't make money on a live account. I think that's why they all ban them. Yeah. Realistically, like if you were to go on a broker and then use the HFT bot and they were to A-book you, the trade would just lose or not get executed every time.
It wouldn't work, yeah.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah, I asked my partner about that. I was like, yo, can we just, like, he's like, nah, bro, you'd have to use like a different coded system or something like that, a different bot. I'm like, all right. So the only thing the HFT right now is good for based on the technology that's out is just passing challenges with those firms. That's about it. But that's a big leap. Like 2 years ago, bro, I'm like,
well, this is the thing. Like, what firms do you use this on? Just name like one.
Like there's I'll name two. There's Infinity Forex funds and there's Nova funding.
I don't know either of them, but so with like TFT, there's something that you can do where, although it's a demo account, you can like feed the trades through what's called a bridge, right? And then the bridge will execute it as if it's being executed in like the live market in a way. So those HFT bots could work or most likely won't work, right? Because of that fact. And it costs more to do this. Newer firms tend to not purchase this service or this option where they can have a live feed. They just have everything demo, and then you could run the bots and it'll just scalp the bot, like the demo all day, and be able to make money and whatever. So I wonder if those firms, are just completely demo.
It probably so. But as long as they're paying out, that's all I care about.
So interesting.
Part, yeah.
But to me, it just blows my mind. It's like, all right, what is their business model?
Yeah, exactly.
How are they paying people out?
Oh, right? Well, I kind of, not say I figured it out, but like they don't, like, for example, they don't refund you back your challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys, like manual firms that you manually trade on, they refund you back your challenge fee after you get a payout. These companies typically don't. And then the first payout is like 50% and the second was like 60, then 70, then 80. You have to be consistent for 3 months, to get like 80%. But with like manual trading firms, like the first payout is typically like 80%, the first one, but you got to go through the whole process of taking the challenge.
Do you trade futures at all or no?
Not much, not really.
No? Yeah, it's starting to become like pretty popular now.
Yeah, I see that.
Like Top Step and all these other companies.
No, I don't trade options or future.
No? Or did you trade options ever at all?
Not really. Other than the stock option times on my phone now, I don't really know much about options.
What other questions do you have for me? This turned into like my podcast.
Yeah, I was interviewing you. I was like, I'm interviewing you. But it's cool though, because I like asking questions too. So
that's why we're here.
Yeah. Any more questions for you? Let me think about this. When you gonna buy a Bugatti, bro? Like,
I'm not gonna buy a Bugatti.
Yeah, would you ever buy one?
No, I haven't. Well, I'm not a car guy, right? So I'm not into cars.
You golf?
As you can see, I'm not very flashy. I don't golf. No, I play tennis.
That's it.
Shout out Luigi. I play tennis. I started learning last year, but I'm not a very like flashy type of guy. I'm just trying to, my main thing is just trying to save as much as possible, invest long-term, try to secure that I'll be able to have kind of like wealth for the rest of my life type thing. You know what I mean? I do enjoy taking risks. So it does pain me to do that, to put that money aside, and just watch it sit there in an account. But, I always can just come out and, make more money with business or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, for me, there's no like high profile purchases that I'll be looking to make. I'm just not interested. If anything, it'd be real estate.
Yeah, I was going to say real estate.
Real estate would be a big thing. Yeah. I'm looking around here right now. I want to get a property that's either on like a golf course around here or something, or by the water. So that's one thing that I've been like saving up for, but I've had to wait because, you need like your tax returns and everything. And like now I have 2 years of like
Yeah.
really solid tax returns. So now I can actually, go out and qualify for a mortgage without like a crazy interest rate and stuff like that. Yeah.
How does it feel to be like, would you consider yourself the CEO of TFT?
Yeah.
How does it feel to be in this position, bro?
So for me, it's very interesting because I've always had this mentality where even coming into this, it's not about me, right? It can't be about me. It's got to be about the people and the community and everything that we're doing. And don't get me wrong, it's very hard to have this mentality to try to always kind of make it about everyone else, right? It's from an ego standpoint, right? Like I'd love to sit here and say, oh, I'm the man, whatever, right? But I found that the more that I focus on what I can do to help out those around me, and the more that I focus on, taking care of myself and making sure that mentally I'm all good and like that I'm keep, driving everything forward. That's what's going to make everything bigger, right? The more I say it like this, I'm the opposite of an influencer because the more that I try to influence, the worse it is for TFT. So I'm like I'm like an anti-influencer. So the more that I focus on everyone else, the more I focus on building the community, the bigger that we're going to be. And obviously I'm super grateful, right, to be in this position. Super excited, like super, like I knew in a sense that I'd be in a position like this. Did I know I was going to be like TFT doing these podcasts, right? Like meeting all these people, paying all this money? No, like I couldn't have guessed that this would have been the thing, but I always knew that I was going to do something really big. So, I'm not sitting here like super surprised. I'm just excited.
Yeah, exactly. You already knew you were destined for something great.
Yeah.
Do you read books at all in your journey? Like, or you just like straight get to it and learn from it after, or do you read about?
So yeah, for me, I definitely enjoy reading. I think the catalyst actually, I think for anyone, reading is huge. Reading can change your life. I mean, it's like a very cliche thing to say, but acquiring more information about different topics can certainly open up your perspective on how you think about things, and just make you overall a more informative and just more well-spoken person. So reading for me has definitely been a catalyst. When I was early on, when I was in Uber, like doing Uber days, I probably read like 50 books in a year.
Damn.
Like I went crazy. Like I was reading like 100 pages a day or something. Like it was.
So you ever Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah, of course.
Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah. I mean, I've read all the like classical self-help books.
Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Have you read that one? You read that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The best book trading wise, in my opinion, and this book is what makes this whole evaluation thing very interesting, is it's called like Market Wizards or something.
Yeah, I read that. 10 million.
Yeah. That's the book that made me, when I was trading, realize that I had to stop risking so much, right? Because they risk so little, but they make so much because they have so much money. Exactly. So that's why now with all the evaluation and prop trading firms, I mean, you can risk 1% on a 100K account and make $1,000.
There you go.
Or you can risk 1% on a 600K account and you can make $6,000, right? So as opposed to if you instead of trading $100,000, if you just use that $500 and you deposit into a brokerage and you make 1%, like what do you make?
Exactly.
You make $5.
Exactly.
So
what is the max allocation with you got? 600,000,
it's
right?
600K. Yeah.
600K? Are you guys gonna make that guy go up more? Or
No.
600K.
I think 600K is pushing it already.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's already enough.
That's good. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you'll make some good money.
Yeah, you can trade 600K in the funded account, and then you could trade up to 1.2 million in the challenge account. Yeah.
What do you mean challenge account?
Like in challenges, you could purchase up to 1.2 million and you can trade.
Oh, what if they pass
funded wise, you can only trade 600 at a time.
What if they pass all the
They gotta wait.
Oh, wait till they blow
put on the sidelines. Put on the shelf for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Any more questions for me in general, like in particular?
So for you, I mean, I think people always want to know the trading style. Like, what do you actually do trading wise? So how would you describe like your trading style?
I keep it simple, bro. I keep it super simple. I try not to overcomplicate it. Basically like a retail trader. Go with volume.
Retail trader.
That's it. Simple, bro. I keep it super simple. The more I try to complicate it, the more.
What pairs do you trade?
GJ.
GJ?
Yeah, GJ. Yeah. I trade London, mainly GJ. But I'm trying to transition to New York slowly but surely. Once I get to New York, I like NAS, GU.
So you trade London session?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're waking up?
I stay up. I just stay up.
You stay up?
Yeah, if I take a nap, I wake up confused, think it's the next day or something.
And how many days a week are you trading London?
Like 4 days a week. maybe 5.
Damn.
I tried to. Yeah, exactly. I know.
Put in that late night work.
It's a lifestyle though. It just feels like it's like I just do it now. It's just normal for me at this point.
So what are some goals, right, moving forward with the prop firms?
A great question.
What are you trying to get into?
Great question. I'd like to be funded again because I was funded with also MFF before they went down, and that like lost a lot of my capital with that. But I want to get funded again. Like about goal would be like $1 million in funding. You know, $1 million in funding and just cash counting it, taking my time, 5% here, 2% here. I don't really got to go crazy on it.
Yeah, I think what some people fail to realize is that making a few $100,000 can change your life, right? Like getting like 100K in cash, 200K in cash, 300K in cash can be extremely transformative.
I agree. So let me tell you what happened for me then. Like I should have mentioned this earlier, right? So I was working a job and I got fired from my job, right? And I had some friends of mine, shout out to those guys if they're seeing this, they put like $500 in a live account. And I was like, we want to see what you could do with this. So the first week I had a ticket from 500 to 1,000, made 100%. Cool, you know? Of course I'm risking like 20% a trade or so, right? Then the second week after that, I dropped it from $1,000 down to $89. And I just hammered out, went to the gym every day. Like I had just go to the gym, trade, because I lost my job and I had maybe like 2 months of rent and like bills saved up. And I was like, bro, I have to make this work, bro. I was like, let me get this fucking $89 account back to like 500.
That's when you get super focused.
Bro, I got that, bro. I didn't even know I could do that, bro. I got it from $89 to 500 and I turned that $500. Long story short, bro, from $89 in about 3 months to $22,000.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't think I would have ever been able to do that, bro. But it happened, bro. And then throughout that process, like it was like a live account. So we were using another broker, like a live account broker. And yeah, bro, it was crazy. I ended up putting like my own money, had like 1,000, turned 1,000 to like 22,000. No, $12,000 profit off of that $1,000 account. It had a trade copier, so we had like a couple accounts connected. Took 5,000, and then also connected a $5,000 account throughout this process to it. Took that $5,000 account to like $40,000, bro. So like once they see it, oh, you're doing good. You took 89 to like 1,000 and 1,000 to 2,000. Trade copiers added, and then bro,
very quickly everyone wants to connect.
Everyone wants to get, hey, bro, like friends, family, like so. I started managing everyone's money, you know. But yeah, that went well. Got withdrawals, everyone got paid out, things like that, and then like eventually the fund went under because like took a big loss, you know. So for me, that was like all right, like a pivotal point in my career and my trading journey is like what, like I learned so much from that. I learned that like listen, even when you're funded, you're never going to be funded forever. You have to understand that when you're in your winning season, make the right investments. So I made the right investments. Like I make investments in the physical world now. I don't just have all my money in trading. Right. So I still get paid from some investments that I made literally like in the real world here. So that's like one of the tips I recommend to anyone watching this. If you make money in trading, make sure you take some money out of that and you put it into some hard assets in the real world. Yeah. Like just putting that out there. Like that's wise to do. So yeah, bro. I agree. That was it. And then also I got funded and then got like $40,000 payout. Off of a 300K account over like 3 months or so as well. So that's fire. Yeah, bro. All right. So you said you're building up the personal brand, right? Yeah. A little bit. Is that where Instagram, YouTube? Where is it? Instagram. I've been making a lot of YouTube content, but I don't know how to edit. So I'm kind of looking for an editor. So I have hella content, but I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do the podcast stuff. So like I have content, but if you guys are an editor, connect with your boy over here. Yeah, hit me up, bro, because I need it. I need it. Listen, shout out Jan, shout out the team. We have great editors with TFT. And once upon a time, before I had editors, I was in a similar position where I'm like, I want to show this content, and I was trying to edit myself and sucked all, it sucked. Yeah. But then once you get some good editors, like, oh man, changes the game. I could imagine. Yeah. What tips would you have for me, bro? I'm 24 years old, right? You kind of see based on this conversation where I'm at. What would you recommend I do? Like also networking too. I'm glad I get to speak with you because like obviously we can have a relationship off of camera too. I hope so. Like what tips would you give to me as a 24-year-old? Like, yo, like if I was in your position, the next move I would make is this, or like looking into like partnering with a firm, or like what would it be? It depends what stage you're at, right? If you're in a stage where you don't really have much money, right? And you still need to like break through in a way, right? If you're at that stage, you have to get super locked in, focus on one thing, and you got to build up a skill. And don't focus on like 3, 4, 5 different skills, right? Focus on one skill.
So focus on one skill, build up that one skill, and keep investing in that. And it's gonna feel like shit too, because you're just gonna keep putting money into it. It's gonna feel like it's burning, right? Just burning money. But eventually you're gonna get better at whatever that is, right? And that could be trading, that could be photography, right? It could be anything, could be sports or whatever, right? That one skill you're working on, focus on that one thing and go super hard with it. And you have to realize that it's gonna take time, right? So you gotta develop a lot of patience. So however you develop patience, whether that's going to the gym or finding other ways to meditate, right? Figure out how to get yourself to be more in a more calm state of mind. So as if you're in that step, if you're at a step where you've already had success, right? And now it's like, how do I get to another level? I think networking is a big thing, but I think along with that is it just continues to boil down to your self-management. So you have to be really dialed in with your self-management. And this is something that's extremely difficult to maintain over long periods of time. So making sure that you're not doing anything in excess, like making sure that you're not only building that one skill up, but potentially you're finding another one to get involved with, right? Continuing to build up the mind and continuing to keep yourself really, really sharp. So I think it's just once you start to make it and start to have success, you have to do that self-management. You have money, you know, all these pleasure, all these things that you can engage in, right? All this pleasure, all this stuff you can invest in that could be like not good, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to figure out how to manage yourself and stay dialed in and just how to like keep going. And yeah, for you, I mean, if you've had some success now, you're investing in some assets on the side, like you just got to continue to like double down on those things, right? Double down on the things that work and just cut out the things that like aren't working. Like that's just the advice I have for you. And like, obviously I'm still trying to learn as well. Right. I think my biggest realization too has just been money is a very interesting thing, very interesting concept, because you can certainly make a lot of money. You could make a lot of money doing a lot of different things. Right. And ultimately it's going to come down to, if you have a lot of money, it just continues to come down to like your daily decisions. So although I might have more money than you, right, I still have to wake up. I still have to make good decisions every single day, right? So I just have to keep working on that. So if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of money, like just focus on making really good decisions. Like all those little decisions add up over time to something much bigger. You know what I mean? So
discipline, like focus on managing the money, making the right choices. And it's like one thing I noticed, like in I want to hear your perspective on this also. Once you start getting some money, it's like everyone wants a piece of it. Like everyone's trying to get a slice of your money, like family, like friends, like anything. Like people think, okay, he's loaded now. Like, okay, like let's tell him that. Like right now, my car is in the shop. That's like my
dad. He hits me up. He's like, yeah, my birthday's coming up. He's got. Do you like this grill? I'm like, Dad, I'll get you the grill. Like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, but no, obviously there's the people in your life that you want to take care of, and then there's people in your life that they weren't there when you were down, right? And I think that's why my story is like so interesting, and why I am just so like low key, is because I truly like, I grew up in a middle class household. My dad was a cop. My mom was like worked at a salon. Like, you know, she didn't like have a great job, but she's definitely a hard worker. So I didn't like come from money, right? So now I'm here. I have money, right? So I don't know. It's just an interesting situation. Like, I definitely value the dollar, like for sure. I value the dollar. Like, I value my time. Like, I know what goes into it. And like, when people try to take advantage of me, like, I just think that it's, when it comes to money, right? They're asking for money and shit. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's crazy, bro.
You know, what's going to happen is what it is.
It's a part of the journey, bro. It comes with it. Like, for example, like my car's in the shop. These motherfuckers tell me like, oh, your motor's blown. I didn't bring my car to you with a blown motor. How is my motor blown now? Like, that's just like some of the things that you deal with. Like they say, new levels, new devils, right? So like the more you elevate, you have different sets of problems. You know, before it was like, damn, like, how am I going to get like pay my big rent now? And I was like, okay, now it's not that. Now it's like, okay, like, who's trying to screw me over now? Like, trying to watch out for like things and things like that. So, I mean,
you also should be aware of the people that aren't trying to screw you over.
Absolutely.
The people that are trying to come in, help you out, right? Give you good ideas, give you good opportunities. There's definitely a lot of those people as well, right? So I think you gotta, you know, obviously the devil's gonna come, like you said, he's gonna be lurking all the time, bro. When there's good in your life and a lot of good in your life, you're always going to be pressed by the devil, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah, right.
But there are a lot of good people too that you gotta know to trust some of the people, right? That's important for sure.
That's just hard, you know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying? It's difficult. How do you go about that? How do you go about trusting people? Like, how do you feel people out? Like,
I'll give you an example, right? I'm actually not going to say
names,
explicitly what this situation was because they will know, and they'll probably watch this.
They're probably knowing already.
But I'll give you an example, right? If you meet me and all of a sudden, you know, I'm very open. I'll take your number if you want. Like I'll chat, whatever, when I have time. Like I'll try to get back to you. Like I'm very busy, but I will try to get back to you, right? If you all of a sudden are like, hey, I have this business idea. And then you're like, we need you to invest in it now. And like, this is the thing, and this is the thing. And we've known each other for like a month, right? And you're like asking me to wire money and like asking me to do this. And I'm like, it's obvious. This is a red flag. Like, you know, what is wrong? What is wrong with you, right? Yeah. So for me, it's just about building relationships. So building relationships takes time, right? So, you know, I like to get to know people. I like to get to know people over long periods of time. And then as I have more history with you and I really know who you are as a person, as your character, and then there's something that comes up, an idea, this and that, that's when I'll be willing to take a risk with somebody. And with TFT, like part of the reason why it worked so well is because me and my partner trust each other so much. Carlos, like me and him he grew up in the town next to me. I didn't know him though at that time, but we went to college together. We pledged a fraternity together. Like we've been through everything that could go possibly wrong in our lives through that process. And I've known him just a long time, right? And I know everyone that he like that he hangs out with and stuff. So there's like a lot of trust there beyond business, because business and it could get very tricky. Yeah. If you don't fully trust people, you know, especially when there's a lot of money involved, you know, a lot of doubts. So
it's just about getting along too. Like they say, like the marriage couples that last longest in marriage, it kind of ties to this as well. Is like just get along and be nice to each other. Right. In business, if you guys have a disagreement, talk it out. Like, let's communicate it. Like some people's communication is like trash, you know? So it's like being able to communicate and just control your emotions.
That's some challenges transparently that we've been going through as we've been trying to expand our businesses is there's like a need for more communication, but then there's not enough time in the day to communicate as much as we need to because there's so many things going on. Yeah. So communication's huge, man. And to your point, like that's how you build trust. Like that's how you all get on the same page. If there's things going wrong, like let's just talk it out, right? Don't bottle things up. That's when things will go south, when you bottle things up for too long.
For sure. Yeah.
Any more questions? Think we're good?
Shit, I'm good, bro.
Good? All right, last we'd like to, if you want to plug like anywhere people can follow you, anything like that, we'll also put it in the description below.
For sure. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Anthony Hilfiger. So I paid for the blue check because people are making fake accounts with me. So that's what that is. And then my YouTube is also Anthony Hilfiger and FX Ambition.
And I want to remind anybody, if you are trying to get in touch with me, my lead time is like 2 to 3 days where I'm getting back to people right now. I really am trying my best to get back to everyone. But I just want to say, I really appreciate everyone's support with the community. Everybody that has purchased a funded trader account, everyone that has participated in a free competition, anything like that, you know, everyone's contribution is what makes this an amazing community. And I really can't appreciate you guys enough. So I appreciate you for being on the podcast, Anthony. Thanks for coming out here. Do a left-hand shake. Yeah, right. And we're gonna give you an account as well. We're gonna do a giveaway account to you. And if you need anything else, let me know. So thanks for being on the pod.
Appreciate it, bro. Thanks for having me.
Let's go.
Yeah.